Hello there, my dear. I am so excited to have you back for another channeled message for the collective. I am Raquel. I am a channeler, an energy coach, a person in love with the written word. And I create these videos to provide people some motivating, inspiring, heart-opening messages as they venture on their journey as a human being in this world, because sometimes we just need to open ourselves up to hearing from the divine in different ways. So, as I always say when we begin these, take what's meant for you and leave the rest. In my world, they're showing me folks in the Truly Yours collective that sometimes you want to make all the messages fit for you. And they're saying some of them are for you and some of them are not. And it's okay if you know yourself well enough to hear the message that is just for you. All right, so we're going to get started. This reading will not have any oracle cards. They're saying I am just to channel the message through me. And so here we go. Um, okay, so these are the words. So I hope you all know every time I sit down to channel, I hope you know when other channelers sit down, we don't always know what's going to go through. That's the point of being the channel. Because if we planned it in advance, it wouldn't be necessarily channeling. It would be like writing it and then sort of telling it to you, or planning it in some way. So, um, every time I see the message, I don't know what it's going to be. So, um, they said heartbreak is not the only way through. So they say this message is for those that are heartbroken. And I ask a lot of follow-up questions that I don't necessarily say to all of you, but a lot of my questions are immediately like, who, what heartbroken? And they're like, it doesn't matter if your heart's broken, you're here, you clicked this video because the word is probably somewhere in the title and you're wondering. They're saying like you're wondering when will the heart stop breaking? That there's something aching inside of you because they're saying for a few of you, something's coming to a close. Um, and it's heart-wrenching. For some of you, they're saying the opposite is happening. Something is opening, but in and beginning. But in you seeing that, you have to sort of look at the past and see the ways in which that was quite different from the thing you're receiving. And that's the heart-wrenching, sort of like they're saying not heart-wrenching, but the heartbreak that you're processing. And then they're saying there's another third batch of folks that are heartbroken because they show me like a person who's like through time that they have had a heartbreak for an extended period of time. So they show this person at different ages. And it's not a person, it's just like a figure of a human that's growing throughout time. Um, and they're saying the reason you're here is because you're wondering when will it end? And they're saying sometimes my guys can be a little sassy. They're saying it's gonna end when you decide it's gonna end. Right. So they're saying that you've clicked on this video, you've consciously said to yourself, I'm heartbroken. These things are unfolding that are contributing to my heartbreak. And they're saying that level of consciousness now allows you to decide, will you continue to just sit there and be in it? Is that what's needed? Because they're like, some of you need to be in it, right? And some of you need to like they're saying the word is excavate, like excavate the place at which the heartbreak is to get a sense of what are all the feelings, like what they're saying, like what are all the textures of the feelings associated with the heartbreak? Because for some of you it's disappointment, for some of you it's anger, for some of you there's joy because as you look back you'll realize how much you had, right? And that's like the bittersweetness of heartbreak is that at its core it's a mixture of two things, the acknowledgement of what brings great deal of joy with also the reality that it may or may not be there in the way that it had been before. So they're saying some of you need to go excavate what all that is. Um, and they're saying others, they said need to get over their shit, right? Because based on, and they're like, this has nothing to do with how long you've been in heartbreak. They're like, there's just a point in which you get to where you have to decide what you're going to do. Like, how are you going to respond? How are you going to move through the world? Like, what now? If you're sitting in the midst of the heartbreak, are you going to they're saying the word like propel yourself forward, right? Because you have a choice once you've declared like cognitively, consciously to yourself, yes, I'm in heartbreak. These are the things surrounding the heartbreak. They're like, now you have decisions to make because there are things surrounding that particular, they're showing me like the heart. They're showing me this vision of a heart And that in the midst of that heartbreak are all these like sort of tendrils that are going out from it. And they're saying you're gonna have to decide the path you get to walk now as you determine your path of healing, right? Because you can make that choice. You decide it. You don't necessarily get to decide always the emotion you're going to feel at that moment, but you can decide, hey, this is heartbreak. They're saying, hey, this is grief. Hey, this is painful. And also, I want to consider what else there might be here. What else might this be opening a portal to? What else might I be uh might I be being asked to consider? That, that was a little clunky, my apologies. Um, and they're saying no matter, it's like a beautiful image. It's a heart, and then there are paths coming out of it. And they're saying no matter what path you take, the path is sort of like the roads back to the heart. You're always pumping it back to the heart. So even though you go down this path and you're like, you feel like it's farther from your heart, or you feel like it's farther from where you'd been, no matter what, it's going to come back, right? They're saying it's an iterative, circular process. They're saying, but you got to decide what you're going to do with it because it's here. And they're saying, be honest with yourself. Some of you have to feel it and be in it. Some of you aren't letting yourselves know that, do that. They're saying, like, some of you know, but you don't do that. You don't let yourself express it whatever way you need to express it, right? And they're saying like for some of you that's going to happen through creativity. For some of you, like you need to go sit in a, they're showing me like a therapist or coach's office. Some of you need to be and allow yourself to be held by other people in your life as you navigate the grief associated with this heartbreak. And they're saying for some of you it might be all of them. And if you've done one or two of them, maybe the question is, can you consider the third one that you haven't? That maybe that could be also the opening to more healing in a way you hadn't expected. My nose is so itchy, which is funny. I went outside today and it was not like this. So let me see. Oh yeah, so they're saying like the sensation of my itchy nose is sort of like that sensation like right before you start to cry. It like comes over your eyes and in your nose and you just like feel it. And they're like, that's what people are feeling, but they don't let themselves do it. Sort of like I'm stopping myself from showing or doing much on here. Like I can't, besides the sneeze isn't really coming through. They're like, some of you are just like blocked and aren't unwilling to just let yourself express the grief and the sadness and whatever. They're saying like some of you are angry as heck. And they're like, you get to be angry too. But you got to figure out how you're going to get it out of you. And then they show me this beautiful image, like you have to make that decision because now that you're aware of the heartbreak, you were aware of it before. But if you click the video, then the question you've been asking yourself is like, what do I do? Like, how do I move through this? What's the next step? They're saying path. And so if you clicked here, they're like, it's because you're aware of it and you're asking yourself this question. They're saying you need to figure out how to express it because it needs to be extinguished from you, right? And they're saying for some of you, it'll be extinguished and expressed for a short while, and then it will return in another flavor and another texture at another time. They're saying don't go into it thinking, oh, you're just releasing it forever. You're gonna never feel this heartbreak again, either from this person or this situation or whatever. They're saying, like, well, no, the point is to do it now. And then to be honest with yourself that the next time it comes up, it won't be the same. It won't feel the same. Yeah, they're showing me uh like grieving my grandmothers are like in the beginning, it's just so it's cloudy, it's full of emotion, right? And by morning, I mean morning they're leaving this world, right? Or at least the physical realm. And so they're showing me like, there are different stages to the grief, right? Which they talk about. They say the psychologists talk about that. But there's also a way in which you get to show up every time the grief and the heartbreak arises again, right? Because there's gonna be they're showing me some people who are heartbroken from having been in relationships that are no longer the case. They're saying some of you are gonna go out in the world and you're gonna move on and you're gonna feel the tinge of heartbreak again when you see other people in your life having found the person that they're meant to be with and the way that they click. Some of you will see it when you're just out in the world. They're saying like at the movie theater and you see a couple, right? Like there will be different textures to that heartbreak in the future, right? But for now, what can you do to like extinguish yourself of this great amount of heartbreak that's sitting sort of like on your heart. They're saying like even in your soul, like you need to decide what you want to do. And they gave you like three different ways to do it a moment ago, right? Um, but they also said for some of you, you could just decide to write it out. So like this is the thing you're gonna do, you're gonna commit to, you're gonna put it on the page and hand it over, and then decide what you want to do after it. If you're gonna burn it, keep it, review it, whatever, right? But do it, whatever you choose to do, they're saying choose to do it with a level of intention to your mind and your heart to say like, oh, this is my path to releasing this level of heartbreak, right? Because they're like, you can just do it, but if that intention isn't there, then it's almost like the energy may not still be moved. It may just be constantly brought up rather than looking at it as like, I'm bringing this up to get it up and out. So it doesn't sit and linger here anymore. They're like, because it feels heavy. And they're saying you don't have to carry it. You can you can give it over. They're saying you can give it over to people, you can give it over to things, you can give it over, you can go to a place. They're showing me like you can go to the forest, you can go to anywhere where you feel like you can breathe and you can hand it over. And then they're saying for those of you who believe in whatever you believe in, you can hand it over to your higher being that supports you as you navigate this life, right? That it's not all yours, is what they're saying. And you get to hand it over. Um, hmm. Yeah, so they show me this vision of, because I said, is there anything else? Or like, this vision of a being and then like a heart that was like pulsating and pulsating and pulsating and pulsating. Um, and they're saying that this is always the path back to love. It's always the path back to you and love for yourself and why you're here and for what you're here to do. They're like, but you have to shake yourself enough out of it to see that path. Because sometimes they're saying some of you are so knee deep in it, and it's like you just want to like you want all the answers, you want all the questions to be dealt with by the other person, by the divine, and you're just like in it, and it's cloudy and it feels so dark, but they're showing you, they're reminding me to show you that the darkness is clouded, is really just gray clouds. So it's not really physical matter. It's sort of like a fog. And so you just have to figure out in what way will you allow yourself to lift the fog? What is it that supports you to be able to move out of that fog and gather clarity enough so you can decide how you want to move through this season of your life, being with rather than fighting the heartbreak that is unfolding right now for you in your life. Um, because they want me to say like there's more to this than you're actually giving yourself like enough time to explore. Um, and that there's something beyond what you're like knee deep in. They're saying, but until you give yourself the ability to get out of it, you can't really see it for what it is. And they're saying two truths can be true as well. Like you can decide to just sit there and yeah. Um, they're reminding me to tell you, like, some of us are stubborn AF. Like, I'm one of those people, like, whatever, I want to feel this, I want to be here. That's it. I'm stubborn. Like, I'm gonna do what I want, right? And that's why I'm a channel because I want to do what I want all the time. Free will run rampant. I don't care what you say. I'm not happy about this. I wanted this to go this way or this. I had imagined this in my mind, and I have an amazing imagination. Like, what are you talking about? Um, and they're like, that can be true too. You don't want to move, you don't want to do nothing, that's fine. Um, you have free will. You can sit in the fog, you can sit in the density. But then, you can't say that things aren't flowing to you, that things aren't going the way you'd imagined if you're unwilling to get up and shift things enough to gather a sense of clarity. Because they're showing me the image like someone's just seated on the ground, they just don't want to get up. they're like, if you knew that just standing from your position, they actually show me like, even if you just got up and got on your knees rather than sitting on your bum, then you would already shift a certain level of like the fog and the gray cloud around you. That you imagine a lot has to be done in order to remove it, but it doesn't. It doesn't. Like you could just get on your knees rather than sitting on your bum, and then you can slowly get up to stand, and then you'll begin to just gather totally different awareness about the grief and the heartbreak that you feel. Um, but they're saying like, we know you have your choice, you get to decide. They're like, the question is, how long will you let yourself just sit there? Because this isn't a forever situation. This is a for now situation. And they're saying, in the timeline, they're like, it will this moment of heartbreak and the way it feels, it's reverberating against your timeline, right? So it has changed your timeline. It has changed you. So no matter what you do, whether you sit there or you get up, it's changed. The question is, what are you going to do about it? They said. They're coming in strong and sassy today. Um, let's see if they have anything else. Hmm. Hmm. So they want me to pull a card from the Rumi Oracle. So I had to pause my recording to go find this Oracle card deck. It's the Rumi Oracle. And they're saying they're calling me to this because Rumi Oracle by Alana Fairchild. And then the drawings are so beautiful. They're by this wonderful artist. What's his name? Mm-mm. I can't find his name. They usually have the artist somewhere on there. Anyway, they're beautiful. And going back to what I was talking about. So they are pulling me towards the Rumi Oracle because the Rumi Oracle is like a pure like, it's based on in the, Rumi's poems, teachings, and Rumi's like straight heart for the divine, like just freaking love pouring. I haven't actually touched the Oracle card deck in so long because every time I sit with it, it's just like heart opening and whatever. And some of you like need to be in it. I like, so this is for those of you who just insist on being in it. And they're saying me, they're saying pull two cards, one. mm, mm, okay, so only one card, maybe the second after. Okay. So this is the first card, and they want me to read it from the book. They don't want me to channel anything. Mm. The name of the card, The Lion and the Deer, is the name of the card. Number is 22. Oh dear. So this is a very long entry, BT dubs, because Alana Fairchild puts it all in here. So just so you know, this is not a quickie. And it begins with a Rumi poem that's in translation. So I'm going to start. The Lion and the Deer. When you enter the garden of the heart, you become fragrant like the rose. When you fly toward heaven, you become graceful like the angel. If you get burned like oil, you become brilliant. When you become thin like hair in yearning, your joy leads the way. You'll be the kingdom and the king. You'll be paradise and the guardian angel. You'll be infidelity and you'll be faith. You'll be the lion and you'll be the deer. So good. Okay. So what I'm going to do is like there's three sections. The first one is like red and I think connected to the poem. And then there's the black part that's just the message. And then there's a sacred honoring ritual. So I'm going to see if I sense that they want me to read all of it or not. So you are the lion and the deer. You are bold, fierce, and vibrant, and you are silent, sweet, and gentle. If I should come to you in arrogance, you roar at me until my falsehood quakes in fear. So terrified it gives up the game and love's conquest happens yet again. If I should come to you in surrendered adoration, open to whatever you may wish, you are so gentle with me. Like a deer, you offer me nothing to fear or resist, so that I too become sweet and gentle, longing to submit to your tender ministrations. So then I do not fear my own errors, for even if I stumble into arrogance, I shall be made wiser by your magnificent roar and become humble. Even if I become weak, I shall draw succor, evoking the tenderness in you. Whatever is needed to keep me true, true to love, is what you give me. For you are the holy lion, proud and mighty, and the sweet deer, gentle as the mildest breezes of spring. Hello, my old friend. Do you remember me? We are the oldest of friends, ancient soulmates we are, acquainted over many lifetimes past and through many lessons learned together in the school of love. So here we meet again, in this advanced spiritual training of the human experience, with the earth as our classroom. The moment is upon us to leave behind what we have once known and to open up to the great mystery of life again. Our souls leapt from the divine oneness through the river of forgetfulness and now dive into a body and a life. What a journey that leap begins. Let us embark on this studious adventure together. Let us honor the tiger and the lamb within each other, the lion and the deer. I can witness in you both the raging warrior who fights with unbreakable honor and the healer who brings together those things torn apart. Of course, for are we not all things? Are we not human and angel, animal and spirit? Are we not heaven and earth? Are we not divine? And in being divine, being all things are divine. So we are here together in the school of love, not for the soul who still adheres to preference instead of curiosity, not for the soul who craves comfort instead of devotion to divine adventure. We must be like lovers, you and I. If we are to take these lessons, we must be willing to become mad with passion, crazy enough to chase the great beloved, even if it means forgetting who we are for a time, to have the sacred delight of rediscovery, breaking some rules and looking like fools. Well, what could be greater than becoming a fool for love? This will do, that will do for us. That will do well. Let us be fools for love together. So shall we become study mates? We'll recognize each other even in all of our varied garbs, bright or somber, wild or gentle. We'll become the most enthusiastic students in the school of love, urging each other on to ever greater fears of passion. Oh, fears, greater feats of passion and devotion. I'm going to reread that because it's just so good. We'll become the most enthusiastic students in the school of love, urging each other on to ever greater feats of passion and devotion, how we shall outdo each other in grand gestures and our unwavering commitment. This oracle brings you a special message. You are rediscovering a part of yourself that has been lost or submerged underneath more practical concerns. Of course, if practicality is about survival, then learning to be your true self is most essential and practical. All other paths lead to death of the soul. You are asked to bear the chaos of this rediscovery. It may be that talents from this or other lifetimes are reawakened and cause you some discomfort at first, even though they will ultimately bring joy and greater fulfillment. The discomfort may be around how those talents are best expressed, about overcoming shame, guilt, doubt, or other judgments. It may even be about who you are, if you now admit your talent or other emerging personality traits. Perhaps what is being unearthed in you now is darker. Your sacred rage, refusal to accept disrespect in your life, your inability to tolerate lies and deceptions. Well, then you are the lion and the deer. That is nature. There is to be both in the world. You are not becoming contradictory or hypocritical. You are becoming whole. The guidance this oracle brings you is that you shall prosper most now if you are willing to unbecome what you have believed yourself to be. It was never really true anyway, that view. It was partial at best, and just a view, an identity, not a genuine reality. Some of your previous sense of self likely come with this transition into the fuller experience of your being, and some of that previous identity shall be shed as far too limiting. It just won't feel true for you anymore if it ever did. Any crisis or confusion this brings you shall be temporary fuel to ignite the divine fires within. They simmer into life, cooking you from within, bringing all of your flavors, spicy and sweet, bitter and sour, into perfect balance so that your being, your presence, becomes an exquisite dish served up as a divine feast. You shall become nourishment for the world in perfect balance. Ooh, itchy, itchy nose. Your being will hold it all, for it holds all within it. It will deny nothing and become a tonic to feed every taste, every appetite, every hunger and every deficiency. What an extraordinary sublime meal you shall be. How your presence shall nourish the world. Oh, my heart dropped there. In case you need to hear that again. How your presence shall nourish the world. And it all begins with shedding the either and the or and recognizing instead the all. With such wild permission for unconditional love, you shall thrive in your beingness and feed the hungry world with a meal complete, satisfying, and exquisite. Exquisite. Whoa. So, like my entire throat is like a mess. My nose is a mess. I had to like pause the recording. And I'm like, what is going on? Um, and they're saying like this is what it's like to be invited into the heart of the divine. All of us is like they're saying like the work they're asking you to do to sort of excavate through and move through your heartbreak. They're like, that's what the surrendering is. It's like you have to like um be willing to they're saying like be willing to deal with like all the ways your physical body responds to that because it's not necessarily used to it. And they're saying they want me to share the photo again for some reason. The photo, I mean the image that's on the card for the lion and the deer. And they're saying this is directly connected to the last part that I was channeling before I got the Oracle card deck, which is that both things are true. You can sit there and you can just be in heartbreak, and you can also decide to do something about it. And that doesn't diminish the heartbreak. It doesn't change. It doesn't necessarily remove the sense of the heartbreak quite yet, but that both can be true at the same time. That you could, they're like showing me someone in their day. They're like, you could just decide every day to do this at this time and still know that this heartbreak is there at that time and express it and then move on and decide what else is going to happen. Not just that day, but what will unfold because they're saying like something sorry, like sometimes the messages just come so fast and like my mouth and I can't keep up with it. So they're saying the meaning of this particular juncture and the amount of heartbreak that you're in is connected to something really big that they're asking of you. And you can feel it and you can sense it and you know what it is if you're here. And they're saying like that's it. And that you can't sit here. They're like, you can sit in the heartbreak, but you can't sit there forever because then you'll never, they're saying like you'll never be pulled forward to where you're actually meant to be. And they're saying the reason the message heartbreak is quite general here is because it could be for, there's some of you dealing with like a human heartbreak of being with someone, and then there's a heartbreak of a loss of a sense of identity that's a part of you. There's others of you that are in a heartbreak. I don't know, they're showing me like something as simple as something happening in the day is somehow, some of you are very sensitive. Um, and that even if that is for you, that there's something greater that is attached to this heartbreak that you're feeling, that is literally your opening to what you're supposed to be doing and where you're supposed to be going. But the message is coming in loud and clear. They're like the reason we're disseminating or circulating this message, right? Is for people to see like the heartbreak is just like the entry. The question is, are you going to walk through it? And are you going to see it as part of this path that we're asking you to walk? Or are you just going to sit there? And they're saying the longer you just sit there, the more painful it is. And they wanted me to stop. And so they just want you to know that. And they're like, yeah, we just had to do like a mic drop there because you have free will and you can sit there and you can cry and you can be upset about it. But at some point, you're gonna have to take some level of they're saying autonomy over your life, a level of acceptance over it, and decide what this is inviting you into and if you're gonna accept the invitation. And they're saying, don't worry, the invitation's always there. They're like, you think you need to do it now and you need to accept the invitation and you feel like you just can. And it's like, well, stop. They're like, the invitation is into the next chapter. And that chapter has different sections. And so it's not all going to begin the way you think it's going to begin. They're showing me like, okay, so if you find a new job if you decide to date different people, or you decide to stop dating. Like whatever you think the next step is, or what you're being asked to be initiated into, basically. They're saying it's not going to be immediate. It's like there's going to be several steps. So you're still going to walk through those steps, and you're still going to cry and be in heartbreak, and that's okay. They're like, but you gotta meet them where they're asking you to, and take the step, because otherwise, if you don't, you're just going to sit there, and they're saying like absolute misery. Some of the words they use, I'm like, am I supposed to use that word? And they're like, yes, these are the words. So then you're gonna sit there in absolute misery, and you're gonna be upset. Um, yeah. And they just keep showing me some of the images from before. They're like, you can just whatever you need to gather a different perspective. Like sometimes some of you are on the floor, some of you are already standing. So maybe you need to gather more perspective by going somewhere that lets you get a sort of like larger view of the landscape. And they're saying I often talk in metaphor because we want people to land wherever they're supposed to land. So for some of you getting on, they're saying like for some of you getting a higher perspective of the landscape of your heartbreak is sometimes like getting an outside perspective, like another human's. For some of you, it's like connecting with the divine. All of you have those different ways, and so like intuitively, wherever you're led to go that way because they're waiting. That's what they're saying. Like we're just waiting. Because it's through the heartbreak that you let us in, is what they're saying. And so they're waiting for you to let them in and for you to accept this next chapter. And they're saying you're not going to do it alone. And the heartbreak won't necessarily be, um, won't be, they say resolved. But the heartbreak won't be resolved, and that's okay. That's not the point. The point is that you walk, because the way you walk in this next chapter also determines your approach to the healing that is supposed to happen with your heartbreak. And so they're saying you don't need to be fully healed of the entire thing that unfolded as a result of the heartbreak to take a step forward. That actually the steps that you take forward when you agree to go with them in this next chapter of your life are the things that are going to heal it. They're saying we want you to repeat that. So, and they're showing me a picture of like me, like, I've been on a journey to deciding what I'm going to do next in my career. But sometimes what they're showing me is like the heartbreak of leaving a past life that used to feel right and true, right? That can only they're saying like it can only be resolved and removed from you when you decide you're going to take a step in the direction of the new life you want. And for me, they're telling me like I did that in a million different ways. And so it doesn't have to be big. It doesn't have to be you hand in your resignation, or you decide to break off something with someone or with a group of people. Like it doesn't have to be that big. They're saying like just taking a step forward in acknowledgement of that heartbreak will help you be able to heal it. And it's not going to be immediate, but it's various steps. But you can't think sitting in it and being in the muck of it for as long as you want to be in it is going to help you heal it or resolve it. It's not. It's just having you sit there and be in it. Without enough support and without enough guidance, it becomes almost impossible to move past it. Right. So they're saying we are complete. I hope this message was supportive. Let me know in the comments what resonated for you. And if you feel comfortable, you can share whatever heartbreak related um, encounter you're currently going through. But if not, you can just say and let me know you're moving through it. Would love to support you, send you a lot of love, and keep you in my own heart as you do that. And I will see you all soon in the next one.